Welcome to Canterbury Cast, the podcast where you'll find sermons, conversations, and all things Canterbury UMC. We're glad you're here.
Welcome back to Canterbury Cast. I'm Jeff Nix, and today we're talking about what is, without question, one of the most anticipated weeks of the year for youth at Canterbury, Magic City Work Week. Now, if you've never heard about Magic City Work Week before, you might think it's simply a week where students paint houses around Birmingham. And while that's certainly part of it, anyone who's experienced this week knows it's about so much more than paint, rollers, and ladders. It's about serving neighbors. It's about stepping outside your comfort zone. It's about worship, laughter, late nights, early mornings, and somewhere in the middle of all that, watching God change hearts. Joining me today are Youth Pastor Gann Waters-Wright, Eleanor Kerr, Davis Plowden, and YAC student Sadie Martin. Thank you all for being here. Let's start with the obvious question. For someone who's never experienced it, what exactly is Magic City Work Week?
Yeah, so Magic City Work Week is a week in the summer that, if you think of a normal mission trip, it probably has that feel to it. But what's different about it is that we stay here in Birmingham. And so we are 10 to 15 minutes up the road from where almost everybody that is there lives. So it has the same experience of in some ways going somewhere else, because we don't stay at our homes, we don't stay at any of the churches, we stay at UAB, but we partner with the urban ministry and we get to know our neighbors in the West End community. And so there's something really incredible, I think, about having a week where we serve and get to know our neighbors. That's not somewhere else, not 5 hours away or anything like that, because you could do that and those are great, but to actually meet people that are 10 to 15 minutes away from you. And so that's one of the huge goals of Magic City Work Week, is to literally know our neighbors that are just in a different zip code.
So Sadie, when your friends ask you about Magic City Work Week, how do you explain it to them?
Okay, so some of my friends have never heard of it before, and I really kind of explain it to them like it's a service project, but I normally say that it's more special just because we're getting to meet new people that we wouldn't meet in our daily lives, almost through partnering with Riverchase, but also just when we're working. And so we'll meet a homeowner's son or someone just a homeowner, and it's just really special. And I feel like a lot of people can't experience that, which is why I always encourage them to come with me. So that's how I normally explain it to them.
That's awesome. I love it. All right, let's discuss the week. What is a typical day like at Magic City Work Week?
So we wake up, typically, Gann and I like to start our mornings with a pamplemousse LaCroix, or as he says, pamplemousse. And that really gets us in the right headspace. We wake up the students, we get ready for the work site from the jump. We go down and have breakfast together. We'll have a morning devotional, typically a small little session, nothing too over the top or big, just to kind of focus the students on what the day is about and what we want to be doing at the work sites. And then we will go to the work sites, which, like Gann said, is 10 or 15 minutes away typically. We'll be there till about 3, so it's pretty solid, 6-hour kind of work day. Then we come back. The kids will have free time to themselves a little bit for about an hour or so they can have their phones, talk to their parents. Then we'll get ready and go to dinner. And then after dinner, we'll go to a session, which is, the music, the worship together. We'll have a talk or a lesson. And then after that, we will go and do some sort of nighttime activity. The big one this year was we had a silent disco in the church, which the students really liked, I think.
It was awesome.
So by the end of the day, how tired are you?
Yeah, exhausted, but totally worth it. And we wake up in the morning and everybody's ready to go.
All right, let's talk about the homeowners. Like, I think that's where this week really becomes something different, something special. Tell me about meeting, the homeowners that you're serving.
Yeah, I think that's obviously, as you already said, like that is the best part of the week. And I think there's the fun things at night and the silent disco, which is important and awesome and fun and all that sort of stuff. But actually getting to meet the people whose house you're sort of working on. I think any time that a group gets to meet a homeowner, the experience is that much more impactful. But it also sort of reveals that this is sort of a partnership type of thing. Like the cliche is that you go and like you serve and you're doing everything. But usually the homeowners like pray for our groups. We get to hear their stories. We get to learn something about life or God or something like that. And so in that way, I think that's what makes it this kind of sacred and holy thing, is that it's this circumstance and these people that you would have never met otherwise. And you walk away with so much of a new perspective on life, on your community, and also maybe on God. And there's been a couple of experiences where I've been on a work site and a homeowner from a previous year has come up because they've recognized one of our students and said, hey, I remember you worked on my house a year ago or 2 years ago, and they know them by name. And kind of getting to see that interaction is the whole reason to do this year in and year out. And to actually get to meet neighbors. And you can see that there's an impact that's bigger than a week, and even bigger than just 1 year.
So, Sadie, you've been on quite a few mission weeks or Magic City Work Weeks so far. Is there like a homeowner or a specific conversation that you've had over the years that really stands out to you?
Yeah, for sure. Mission Week is definitely my favorite retreat out of all of them. And so it's just really special each year to meet someone new or paint someone else's house I've never seen before. And I feel like my most impactful year was definitely my 10th grade year, so 2 years ago. And we had this homeowner named Miss Joanne, and she was just awesome. She would always just come over, talk to us while we were working. She was really just like sharing the love of God. And we also, this was special because we had a group chat with her, and I've never done that with any of my other groups before. And it was just awesome. And she also made us hot dogs, and it was just so special because she was giving so much to us when she didn't really have that much to give, which was just why it was so special to our group. And it was just a fun group of people there too. So definitely.
Miss Joanne actually joined us at our work site last summer because a couple students were there, and it was so cool to get to see them kind of reconnect. And then our homeowner actually got to have a cool conversation with Miss Joanne, and they interacted and became friends. And so that was really just another layer that was super cool.
Wow. So y'all have definitely seen hundreds of students go through this week. What do they discover at the beginning, building relationships instead of just simply completing the process?
It's a lot. At the beginning of the week, it's not crazy to see students kind of slacking off or getting tired a little early in the day, or maybe painting a little sloppily. But then somewhere along the way, something just kind of clicks for them. And come around Wednesday or Thursday, you're having to beg them to get off the ladder to take a water break, because they understand that it's not just painting a house. You're painting someone's home. I had a few students this year where it kind of felt like they were working against us almost the first few days. And then they heard something Wednesday, and then they came out and they were our hardest workers. They were up on the ladders getting all the hard spots, or they were doing all the jobs that no one really wanted to, because they had that connection with the homeowner, and they started to understand that this is important, not just to paint a house, but to get to know somebody and help them with their home.
Our work sites are made up of 7th through 12th graders also. And so at the beginning of the week, there are a lot of dynamics just within even our church group that students know each other. They've been in the same youth group for a year now, but they never really had 6 hours to spend in a small group situation. And so watching the older students and the younger students in different friend groups just kind of become a team throughout the week, I feel like really impacts the work that's done and is a super cool part of the week.
Yeah, that makes me think, we produce this really awesome highlight video every year of the Mission Week, which is so much fun. And if you're listening, go to our website and just check out the highlight videos that are on there, because you'll really love it and you'll really connect more with what's going on. But what is it that's behind the camera that people aren't seeing?
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, we it's not a yak event if there's not a highlight video from it, and right. I think more of that is that we do this for students, and we want to be able to bring the whole congregation along with us. So it's like the best way to get a quick snapshot. But you're right that is just a snapshot of the week itself. I think the moments that you see sort of the fun and you see the hard work and the highlight video and all of that. But there are moments where the week itself is hard. I mean, it is hot outside, as that's an obvious statement. It's hot outside, and certain areas of a house are more tedious than others. Sometimes someone doesn't get the sandwich they want, that sort of a thing. But what you don't see is all of the payoff of living into the hard moments that then make kind of the great moments, or the interactions with the homeowner, or actually finishing the house, or making a friend from a different church, that sort of make those moments pay off. You don't see the work that this staff has put in to making sure everything goes correctly, which is a ton of hours and a ton of planning and a ton of opinions and trying to figure out exactly how to make this the best week possible for students. You don't see the urban ministry staff purchasing the paint supplies and getting them to the work sites themselves. So anything that goes well, there's a ton of work that's gone into it, and not by me, by the incredible people on the youth staff and Riverchase's staff and urban ministry and all of that. But there's so many moments where it's the payoff and it looks easy, but there was so much that went into making that moment happen. And so those are the things that maybe you miss a little bit in the highlight video.
Sure.
You also miss a lot of the conversations. You can't hear anything, obviously, on a highlight video. So the talks or the devos in the morning, or just the band, all the incredible music they share or words they share, and just the conversations, whether it's 2 a.m. in the hallway with all the girls or just maybe during a session. But yeah, there's a lot you miss.
So, watching the students throughout the week, what do you think changes with them from Monday to Friday?
Kind of like how I said earlier, it really clicks for them. It's easy to get in the mindset of we're just painting a house, or this is just kind of a service project. Like Sadie said, it's more than that. It's not just getting your service hours. It's connecting with people who live down the road from us. It's showing that we do care about people outside of our community, when it is sometimes really hard to show that for our students. There's not a ton of opportunities. And so seeing that shift and that change in them, it's always apparent on the work sites, but then also outside of it, you see it in their interactions with the kids from Riverchase, or even with each other. It's just a complete change of attitude, I'd say.
I feel like one of the tangible things that I see throughout the week is we'll have a dinner with Riverchase before we even head to UAB. And we intentionally put students at tables with people that they do not know. And I know Sadie's laughing because it's I even say at the beginning, I'm like, lean into the awkward moment. We know it's going to be awkward. For students, for adults, for anybody, sitting at a table with people you don't know is just an awkward experience in general. And we all naturally kind of move to our friend groups and kind of cluster as one group and all of that. So you have that moment where you're just blatantly saying lean into the awkward, right? And then you have the silent disco, which is a couple nights later, and you see groups from both churches or people within the same church that just got to know each other on the work site or whatever, and they realize they like the same song, and so they're dancing up and down and having a great time, and you kind of see a blob more than you see kind of groups or people sitting at different tables. And so it kind of has that moment where you can see all of a sudden we became a big group of people instead of little small tables of awkwardness. And so I think in that way, as you just spend time with each other, you sort of see that shift happen in just a matter of days, frankly.
Yeah. So you bring up a really interesting topic that a lot of people may not be aware of, but in the past 2 years we've started partnering with Riverchase United Methodist in this mission week. Talk to us about how that came about and what do you think the impact is on that?
Sure. I'll jump in, but I'd love to hear other people's perspective. Yeah, we've been doing Mission Week in town for a while, I think, since maybe 2021. It's always hard. There was the World Games, all that sort of stuff. But it's been happening for a little bit of time. And then really, Mission Week was not my idea. It was the previous youth director's idea, Seth. And even when he pitched it to me, I was and I joke about this, I was I don't know that this is going to work. And the first year we did it, we were wanting there to be, we were we'll probably get around 50 kids or something like that. And it was 28 or something. And I was advocating this isn't going to work how we want to. Let's not do it. Let's pivot to something else, whatever. And he was no, I think we need to do it. And I couldn't have been more wrong. And I'm so glad that we did because of what it's built into. And so when Seth went over to Riverchase, there was sort of this natural thing. If we had worked together, we had figured out what we thought worked best. We had seen the impact it had had on students and kind of had the same sort of setup. And we thought, what's better than just meeting your neighbors in terms of urban ministry in West End, but actually making this something where we meet our neighbors at just a different church and a different Methodist church. And so that has lended itself to awkward dinners at the beginning, but it has also lended itself to meeting people and actually fulfilling the call of getting to know your neighbor that God puts on us. So I know James said, who works at Riverchase at the end, he was we could have done this week by ourselves. It's true. Riverchase could have done it. Canterbury could have done it by themselves, all that sort of stuff. But we would have really missed out on a number of things had we just run it our own way and kept it simple and just stayed within our group. But yeah.
So every year there's a different theme. Why do you think those themes are so important?
I personally feel like the themes are super important because it just creates a through line for the whole process. It creates a lot to kind of look back on and remember, this summer we talked about this or that. And it allows us to not just remember the relationships, but also kind of the talks that were shared, the discussions that were had, kind of the purpose of the week. It's just a good reminder of why we did the week in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I love having a theme personally. I think the one I remember most is actually paint because I just love the t-shirts and just the overall theme and what we talked about because it's kind of, that one really fit just because obviously we're painting, but I felt like it was really good to base talks off of and also just kind of orient ourselves and center ourselves throughout the week. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think with this year's theme, it was 21.16, which is roughly the square mileage between Canterbury, Riverchase, and Urban Ministries. It frames the whole week on what we're focusing is not out there somewhere to be found, but this is within our community. It's us here. And so each night we kind of revealed a number, and slowly throughout the week, the kids kind of got an idea of what we were talking about. And then it kind of became, with Gann's talk, I've thought a great theme overall, because it's a great reminder, like Eleanor said, of what the week's about. And it was the week's about us and our neighbors.
So Sadie, the theme kind of centers us, and puts into focus what the week's about. When would you say during the week it changed for you as, being a service project to God really working in your life?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. For me, when I go into Mission Week, it never really feels like a service project, just because it's just such a fun experience, and I get to work with my friends and people I've never talked to before, which is why honestly it never feels like a service project. And from the beginning, you can really just feel God working within yourself and also just within the site. Whether that's in relationships that you build, but also just the work that you're doing. And obviously you're doing hard work and you're sweating and you're getting sunburned, but beyond that, it's really impactful. And I feel like once you get past I'm doing all this hard work, you can really just feel God's presence in what you're doing. So.
All right. I want to ask each of you a question. Finish the sentence. Magic City Work Week taught me blank.
Say how to truly love my neighbors.
How amazing our students are. How amazing 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, everyone. How awesome they are to one another and to their community, and how important they are.
Yeah, I would say Magic City Work Week taught me how valuable putting 100% into something. So, yeah.
I think Magic City Work Week taught me, I think just how great the people are that I get to work with. Students, but also our YAC staff. It's just not an easy thing. But to see them at work on the sites, in the talks, in the devos, and all of the heart that's poured into that. Not every church has what we have. And that's from students and staff. Yeah.
So before we wrap up, Gann, I wanted to ask you if someone's listening and they've, never heard of Magic City Work Week or what it used to be called Mission Week, or, a student that hasn't gone yet and might be interested in going. What's the one thing that you would want these people to know about Magic City Work Week?
Yeah, I think this is the closest that we get to fully fulfilling what Jesus calls us to do. I think we see time and time again in the Bible where Jesus says, if you don't get anything else, get this, love God and love your neighbor. And that is what we are doing. It feels like almost the entire extent of Magic City Work Week. And I think when you're in that environment and you're doing the things that God has called you to do, it is impossible for it to not impact you. And impossible for it to not impact you in not only a positive way, but change how you see everything else. So my thing would be it is actually a life-changing thing to go on it.
Well, one of the beautiful things about Magic City Work Week is that every year students head into the week expecting to make a difference in someone else's life. And almost every year, they come home realizing that God has changed theirs instead. It's 6 days filled with paint, worship, laughter, friendships, and service. But more than anything, it's 6 days of discovering what it looks like to live out our faith together. Gann, Eleanor, Davis, Sadie, thank you for sharing your stories today. And thank you for listening to Canterbury Cast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. To learn more about what's going on at Canterbury, follow us on social media or visit our website at canterburyumc.org.